Hello everyone, my name is Ralph, and in this video I will be talking about what you can do to improve your defending in FIFA 21. There's gonna be two things we'll be talking about, that's tactics and instructions. For formations, I think as long as your formation has two center midfielders who can track back, or it has three center backs, it should be okay. If it's only one, like here, it's probably not gonna be enough, I think. So just try to change if you feel that it's not enough. And as long as you have my sliders that I have in my other video, you should be fine, and the center backs should be fairly well positioned. So tactics. We're gonna go one by one. My thoughts on these. So for defensive style, drop back is probably the safest one you can go with. But the reason why I don't like it always is you invite a lot of pressure, and how it works in this year's FIFA is the AI is just gonna dribble all around the box with the ball and pass back, then pass inside, and at this point all of your center backs or of your defenders are inside of the box, as well as probably some of your midfielders, and now the AI is just gonna be trying to find the pass, and eventually what happens is the ball somehow deflects, or the AI just like turns around you, and the ball somehow gets behind your defenders to the only attacker that's running in, and all of a sudden it's 1-on-1 and it's 1-0. So that's why I don't like playing that deep, just because of that, because I hate that part. So it's so stressful. So that's why I play balanced, unless I'm like winning and really need to win. For these higher pressure, I'm not using them anymore because it pulls your players too far out of the defensive part of the pitch. Probably when you're losing, it's fine. But there's risks. With the width, I'm currently going somewhere in the middle with the width, because if it's too short, like low, I should say, your wing backs are gonna be tucking in even more than usual, which they already did. So that's why I like to go somewhere in the middle, because I don't want them to get that far in. It still happens sometimes, but yeah, I wouldn't go more, because then there is more space between your center backs, which you also don't want. And for the depth, like I said, I don't like to be that deep, so this works pretty fine, I think. They don't really try to lob it over you. Maybe against better teams they would. And for the offensive style, yeah, that's not really the point of this video, but the width is kind of important, because if you go with higher width, actually what happens is this doesn't apply only to your attacking players, but to your defending players as well. Basically, when you are in possession, the team is gonna react based on this. So that's why I'm keeping it lower, because on higher the center backs like move so far apart that there is gonna be giant gaps in between, and whenever they win the ball in the middle of the pitch, your defensive your defense doesn't have really time to get back into the shape. And for the players in the box, usually I would say if you have a higher run frequency, I would say keep this lower, keep this like 4, let's say. Keep it lower, because it's gonna pull too many of your midfielders forward, and then when you lose the ball, they're just gonna be too far. But with the sliders that I'm running, this is actually helping only the players who should be moving forward to move forward. So we'll get to that now, actually, because in instructions this is actually pretty important. So we can start here with the Centermates. I have this Centermate set to stay back while attacking. This was what I was doing in the past anyway. There is not really change for FIFA 21. But you can set this other midfielder to stay back while attacking as well. This is definitely gonna help you. I'm just not doing that because this guy has a high defensive work rate as well. I should say this guy also, at least one of your Centermates for sure should have a high defensive work rate. It helps. It doesn't have as much as it did in the past, but it still helps. Especially if there is a discrepancy, if his attacking work rate is lower. And then for your defense, the wing backs are probably, or the full backs are probably the most important. So you wanna set them to stay back while attacking first, at least one of them, because what then happens, they will just both push up, even if you have them at balanced, which means they basically choose. They would both push up, and then you lose the ball and you have only 2 center backs in. Of course, if you play with 5 at the back, it's something different. You can probably get away with that, or you can use a drop back between defenders. I think it's here. Yes, that's actually a really good option. I'm just not using it because I don't really like to play that way, but you can actually do that, and it's gonna help you greatly. But in that case, you want the other centermate to also stay back while attacking. So that's why you do that. The interceptions are better on conservative again, because the fullbacks are gonna push too far out even on a normal. So they would push too far forward to the ball and then get out of position, and there's gonna be gaps behind them. So that's why conservative is really good. You can set one of these to aggressive interceptions as well. That is definitely viable. For your centermates, I wouldn't really change anything here. Careful if you wanna use something like play as a striker or joining the attack, because you will miss that player there greatly. And maybe in that case you want to use, let's say, join the attack along with drop between defenders. That might work. I haven't tried it. It's too risky, I think, to try these strategies, because the first thing you want is you just want your defense to be solid. So I just kept my center backs as they were, and I can show you before we end what my sliders are as well. They're of course updated in the slider video, but the most important parts for this is gonna be the fullback positioning on 1, line length on 1, and run frequency on 1. This is like the perfect balance for you, and also marking helps as well. But the run frequency, even if it's 2, the AI is gonna make much more runs between your defenders and behind them, and the ball will somehow deflect there. You might not believe me, but it will get there, and like they will just be penetrating your defense with run after run, and your defenders are gonna be getting pulled more and more out of position, and eventually they're just gonna concede a lot of goals. And the length helps greatly exactly with positioning of your center midfielders lower, basically, once you are out of position. Only actually when I moved this to 1 is the only time where I noticed that my centermates are actually in the right position when I lose the ball, and there is, let's say, a kickoff, AI kickoff. The centermates finally are the ones who are winning the ball on kickoff. So that's really important, and I can show you the difference. Majority of the last season I was playing with I was playing with the 2 run frequency and a little lower marking and a higher line length. I've conceded almost 100 goals in 60 matches. It was insane. But so far, when I was playing with the newer settings, as I'm showing you, I conceded 5 so far in 8. You can say that's still quite a lot. Well, ever since I've been using the 1 run frequency, I basically didn't concede. Those 3 matches, but I basically didn't concede, and it feels really, really good. So definitely use both the combination of these 2 things, which means instructions and your tactics and the sliders is what is gonna help your defending. So anyway, thank you for watching. Hopefully this helped you. Let me know in the comments if it did. Leave a like even. And I'll see you in the next video.